It's time for another Chris Chibnall, Jodie Whittaker respective video. Yes, because in today's video, we are going to be ranking all of Chris Chibnall and Jodie Whittaker's series. Series? How do you plural series? Now, I know you're thinking there's only 3 of them, but we're going to do this as 4. Basically, just so we have a bit more to talk about in this video, we're going to count them as Series 11, including Resolution, Series 12, including Revolution, both of those of the Daleks, please keep up, Flux, and then the 3 post-Flux specials as their own little thing. I was considering whether to put, like, all specials together, but I feel like in terms of, like, chronology, it just doesn't work very well. So the Dalek specials are included with the series before them, because that's kind of where they fit. Now, in last place, legitimately has to be Doctor Who Flux. And these next 2 are quite hard to place, because for me, I found them incredibly inconsistent. For example, War of the Sontarans and Village of the Angels, I think are some of Chris Chibnall's best Doctor Who. Fun, exciting, has some just great sci-fi moments, and are just really fantastic stories. But then most of the rest of Flux does fall apart. I think overall I have to rank Doctor Who Flux last, because it presents itself as one overall story, and while the standalones work within it, the overall story just doesn't work. I have to rank it last, because the overall story doesn't work. I phrased that really well. Subscribe, please. Next up, it's the specials. So as a reminder here, we're talking about Eve of the Daleks, Legend of the Sea Devils, and The Power of the Doctor. Now, these are all really weird episodes for me. In summary, Eve of the Daleks was fine. It probably needs a rewatch on my part, but I didn't seem to like it as much as others did. I think when I come from a lot of Doctor Who, from like a massive just sci-fi fan like background in general, those elements didn't feel particularly original or clever to me. Plus the whole Daleks becoming stormtroopers thing was not good. Weirdly enough, while I wasn't in love with Legend of the Sea Devils, I actually think I enjoyed it more than most. For some reason, I guess, I was just able to switch, my head off and have a really fun time. I think a lot of the Phasmin elements within that story work really well for me. I don't want to go on about Power of the Doctor too much, but Power of the Doctor, for me, worked quite well. But again, these 3 episodes have a lot of, inconsistency within them. None of them are standouts, lots of them have great moments, and I don't really know how to feel about them. Plus the fact that there's just generally only 3, so therefore they're less memorable than the other 2 seasons on this list, I've got to put this in 3rd. Put your lists in the comments below, because actually I would quite like to see what you all think. At number 2, I've got to go with Series 11. For me, I actually think this series got too much hate. Because yes, there are some stinkers here. I can't pretend there aren't. But overall, I don't know, this felt fresh. I've recently come to respect the Capaldi era a lot more, but at the time I was a little bit sick of a bit of a darker, more dull, a bit more stodgy feeling take on Doctor Who that Moffat had kind of left us with. It kind of felt like a bit of a darker, more stodgy take on Doctor Who that Stephen Moffat left us with, which was weird because he started off basically writing a fairy tale and then left with very dark, psychological Doctor Who. So Series 11, taking things back with a bit of a lighter tone, really did work. Because for me, what Series 11 does quite well is have lots of light, lots of humour, I really do enjoy a lot of the fam and their dynamics. They all very well-rounded characters, no, if you're not looking for much depth and just want fun stories to be told, I think they work well. That, and then when it does decide to have, darker moments, like in Rosa, for example, they really hit and work really well. Episodes like The Woman Fell to Earth, Rosa, Kablam, I even like the Battle of Ransford Kolos quite a lot. I know it isn't this big-scale finale, but I think people don't like it just because it isn't that, and I feel like it's still quite a good story. Especially as if you wanted a bit of a bigger than finale, you've got Resolution at the end of this, which also is fantastic, and is probably the best Dalek story in years. Actually, in terms of the last decade, I actually think Resolution might be my favourite Dalek story. It's fantastic, it really is. So yeah, Series 11 deserved a lot more praise at the time, and I think still does to this day. Don't disrespect it, it really isn't that bad. It's got some slower moments, the second half can drag a little bit, but it's not too bad. It's better than 7B, because my god, 7B is awful. And at number 1, I've got to go with Series 12. I can't sit here and pretend like I've completely loved the Chibnall era, but the elements that worked really, really well for me all belong in Series 12. Yes, we had some duds, the Timeless Children, I've spoken about how Can You Hear Me is an actively offensive episode. But in terms of just having, like, the fam really feel connected and just some fantastic episodes, Series 12 is where it's at. Spyfall, fantastic. Nikola Tesla's Night of Terror, fantastic. Fugitive the Jadoon, great. Via Diodati, oh god, I've had a mind blank. And even the first of, like, the end of, like, the 9th episode, is it Ascension of the Sidemen? That's the one. I should do more research for these videos. One of the big things here is the fam feels a little bit more, I don't know, connected together. There's just more for them to do here, and that's where they were kind of flying as characters. And even Revolution of the Daleks is just a lot of fun. Plus, I've spoken about Fugitive of the Jadoon before. While I don't feel like it works these days, knowing that the Ruth Doctor and some of the elements of, like, all of that was never really going to get, like, done much with in the future, I just remember just loving that episode from start to finish, and I have to give it props, because it's not that episode's fault that it just didn't live up to the hype. So those are my thoughts. Please subscribe, you absolute legends. If you want more positivity, you can click on this one, because this is like my top 10 of like Chris Chibnall episodes. So these are all the episodes that like I really love. These are our gems from the past 5 years of Docu Woo. If you want to see that, click that one. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.